The day Harrison cheated, I used the Swiss Army knife he'd bought me for our anniversary to carve a permanent memory into my stepsister's face. Once I was behind bars, our marriage dissolved automatically. He finally gave her what she wanted, the kind of lavish, white lace wedding that makes the front page of the society kits. 3 years later, I was paroled. Harrison went into a frenzy. He hired 20 bodyguards to form a human wall around her. He laid 50 legal traps, desperate to send me back to a cell. He even sent 100 different intermediaries to tell me I could name my price, any amount of money, any property, as long as I stayed away from Jade. He was overthinking it. I didn't want his money, and I certainly didn't want his wife's life. I simply stepped out of the prison gates and vanished into the city like a single drop of rain falling into the Atlantic. We met again at my auto shop. I spat out the toothpick I'd been chewing on, wiped my grease-stained fingers on a rag, and popped the hood of his car. I didn't look at him as I asked, "How long have you had this?" I heard him grind his teeth. The sound was sharp, brittle. "Maya," he said, his voice like sandpaper. "This car was the first gift you ever gave me." My hand, poised with a wrench, went still for a heartbeat. "Oh, then it's been a while," I said, my voice flat. "Probably needs a complete overhaul." I was too calm. I could see the flicker of confusion in his eyes, the way his mouth worked as if he had a dozen things to say, but couldn't find the breath for any of them. I went back to work, tapping each bolt, checking the tension with a clinical precision. To me, this gleaming yellow Ferrari was no different from the thousands of beat-up sedans I'd salvaged over the last few years. Perhaps the rhythmic clanging of metal on metal got to him. Harrison's expression shifted from shock to a twisted, mocking smirk. "Maya, if you're broke, you could have just called. You didn't need to scatter nails on the road, just to lure me to this hellhole, so you could put on a show." I gave him a small, professional smile, the kind I gave to any difficult customer. "If I were an actress, Harrison, I'd be in Hollywood, not under a chassis. You came from the East Side, right? The news reported a spill from a hardware truck over there this morning. You should be more careful." I picked up a rag to wipe the black oil from my knuckles. He stared at it. It was a faded pink towel, frayed at the edges, bleached nearly white from too many washes. Something in him snapped. "You used to be like a swan, Maya," he said, his voice rising. "Claustrophobia, OCD, a germophobia that bordered on pathological. You were the quintessential heiress. You'd spend 10 minutes wiping a speck of dust off your Louboutins. You once fired a maid on the spot because there was a single grease spot on the dining table. Now look at you. Hey, Maya, can you take a look at my AC? It's blowing nothing but hot air." The shop door groaned open, letting in the humid afternoon air and a boisterous woman in a loud floral shirt. She tossed her keys onto my workbench. "Sure thing, Mrs. Gable. Leave it with me. It's probably just a refrigerant leak. Easy fix. You're a lifesaver," she said, patting my shoulder with a meaty hand. She glanced at Harrison, then leaned in, whispering loudly, "Oh, you've got a fancy client? I'll let you get back to it. Catch you later." Once she was gone, I turned back to Harrison with a polite, distant smile. "Mr. Sterling, your car is ready. That'll be $20 for the tire plug." "You." He stared at me, looking as if I'd slapped him. He fumbled for his phone, his fingers trembling slightly as he pulled up his payment app. A notification chirped. I looked at the screen. He'd sent $500. "Mr. Sterling, you overpaid. Let me send the change back." I instinctively went to look for his contact info, then remembered. He'd blocked me the day I was sentenced. I rubbed the back of my neck. "Well, this is awkward. Could you show me your QR code? Didn't you say the car needs an overhaul?" Harrison's eyes were dark, unreadable. "Check the rest of the components. Is 500 enough?" I shrugged. "More than